It's a pleasure to welcome our friends from the Palais back to WHO. The last time we hosted you in July last year, none of us could have imagined that almost 18 months later, we would still be in the grip of the pandemic. More than 3.3 million people have lost their lives to COVID-19 this year, more deaths than from HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis combined in 2020. Africa is now facing a steep wave of infections, driven largely by the Omicron variant. Just a month ago, Africa was reporting its lowest number of cases in 18 months. Last week, it reported the fourth highest number of cases in a single week so far. There is now consistent evidence that Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. And it's more likely that people who have been vaccinated or have recovered from COVID-19 could be infected or reinfected. There can be no doubt that increased social mixing over the holiday period in many countries will lead to increased cases, overwhelmed health systems, and more deaths. All of us are sick of this pandemic. All of us want to spend time with friends and family. All of us want to get back to normal.
So people assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
None of us want to be here again in 12 months' time, talking about missed opportunities, continued inequity, or new variants.
Do you predict that we're going to end up seeing fourth doses, fifth doses?
If we have to make a guess, based on everything I have seen so far, I would say that likely will be needed annual revaccinations to maintain very robust and very, very high level of protection.
If we are to end the pandemic in the coming year, we must end inequity by ensuring 70% of the population of every country is vaccinated by the middle of next year. 70% of the population of every country is vaccinated by the middle of next year. According to new data released this year, 23 million children missed out on routine vaccines in 2020. However, 5 countries were able to introduce the human papillomavirus vaccine to prevent cervical cancer, and a further 9 are planning to introduce it over the next 6 months. And in September, we launched a global roadmap to defeat meningitis by 2030, with 2021 marking the 100th anniversary of the discovery of insulin. WHO added long-acting insulin analogs and quality-assured biosimilars to the essential medicines list.
Biological products generally are large, complex molecules that range in size and complexity. They include reference products, also called the original biologic, as well as biosimilars and interchangeable biosimilar products. Biosimilars are highly similar to and have no clinically meaningful differences from an FDA-approved reference product. Biological products are made using highly complex manufacturing processes. They are generally produced in living systems such as microorganisms or animal cells using recombinant DNA technology. In general, the manufacturing process for biological products involves the following basic steps. First, a piece of DNA is inserted into a living cell, which then instructs the cell to produce a specific molecule, such as a protein, like a monoclonal antibody. Cells grow in a bioreactor. The specific molecule is secreted into the culture medium, is purified through filtration and chromatographic techniques, and filled into single containers for use, becoming the biological product. Next, the purified biological product is analyzed for structure, function, and purity. FDA requires that biosimilar products meet the agency's rigorous approval standards. That means patients and healthcare professionals will be able to rely upon the quality, safety, and effectiveness of the biosimilar, just as they would the reference product. Biosimilars are analogous to generic drugs in the sense that both products are versions of original, brand-name medicines and may offer patients more treatment options at potentially lower costs, but there are also important differences. Most generic drugs are small molecules, like aspirin, and are manufactured synthetically from chemicals. The active ingredients of generic drugs are generally smaller, simpler, and more straightforward to copy. Most biological products, however, are manufactured from living systems. Slight modifications or inherent variations to the protein are expected as a natural process of manufacturing. Each batch of reference or biosimilar product may contain a mix of many slight variations of the protein. We can compare them to jars of different colored jelly beans. For example, each protein molecule represents a different colored jelly bean, and each jar contains a mix of the proteins. The overall composition may have minor differences, but that does not affect the final product. Biosimilar manufacturers provide data to show that their products have similar variations compared to the reference products. Compared to the reference product, a biosimilar is made from the same types of living sources. They are given the same way, have the same strength and dosage, potential side effects, and expected treatment benefits as the reference product.
Two years ago, only 32 countries were on track to lower tobacco use by 30% between 2010 and 2025. Now, 60 countries are on course to achieve the target reduction. Our open WHO online learning platform has now registered 6 million enrollments for courses on COVID-19 and many other health topics in 60 languages. It's emerging now of its benefits, especially with elderly groups, senior citizens, especially above 65 and above 60. So if it's going to be used, it's better to focus on those groups who have risk of severe disease and death, rather than, as we see, some countries are using to give boosters to kill children. Some countries are using to give boosters to kill children. Some countries are using to give boosters to kill children. To kill children, to kill children, to kill children, to kill children, which is not right. Then the equity issue comes here. Instead of boosting a child in high-income countries, it's better to vaccinate the elderly in countries who have the elders who have not been vaccinated, even the primary vaccines. So the equity issue should also come into play.